right. That was an old picking exercise, alternate picking exercise I learned out of Guitar Player magazine in the very early 80s when I was a teenager. And like I say, it was Steve Morse. And I think he said he wrote it when he was at the University of Florida. And I think he said he was trying to play some Jimmy Page stuff, and he was having a hard time doing it with all picking like Page was. And so he tried, you know, writing an exercise where he had to pick everything and was forced to work on his alternate picking. So let's see, where do I want to start with this? Yeah, I just played this from memory. I've had it memorized for a very long time, and I used to be able to find it here and there on the internet, maybe on old copies of Guitar Player magazine. I don't have my old copies. I wish I did. And so I haven't seen it. You know, I learned it from the tab, obviously in the early 80s. That's the way you had to learn stuff. I think they put the sheet music and the tab in there. I'd read Howard Roberts stuff. Man, all kinds of jazz guys, rock guys. Anyway, so I memorized that and playing it from memory. And at the time, I was kind of, you know, going through a heavy metal phase, coming out of hard rock, bands like UFO or the Scorpions, and a lot of rock was moving more into, say, Iron Maiden, where you'd have some quasi-classical, Baroque kind of lines. And of course, that meant a lot of arpeggios. So, and then I decided to record it all these years later and put drums and chords behind it. Now, the whole thing, real quick, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you real slow. Let me go over here. I'm gonna turn off the echo. The whole thing is basically chords, arpeggios. There's one melodic minor passage, which is kind of based off an arpeggio too. And it's got some passing tones as well. Okay, so here's how it goes slowly. You're going to go, it's in E minor. It's got an F sharp, second chord, F sharp major. Then the rest of it's pretty much just in, let's see, it's got an A, it's got an F, a D, that's in the key, that's in the key, that's in the key. So what the F is out of the key, and I think it's an A major, not an A minor. I'll check here in a second. Probably A minor. We'll see here in a second. All right, here's how it goes. So it starts with the E minor arpeggio. Let me take my glasses off. All right. So you're gonna go E minor. By the way, it's an alt picking exercise, so the whole thing is down, up, straight through without any variation. So E minor. That's all E minor. F sharp, major. Then a couple passing notes. Then back to E minor. This, the ninth. Then E minor. So let me just go from there. E minor. F sharp. E minor. Then a B major with some passing tones. Then a little scale. So that's kind of cool right there. Let me stop right there. So on that B minor, you know, you could play harmonic minor right there, E harmonic minor. Instead of going up, what Steve Morse does there is he makes the passing notes down, which are notes that are out of the key. He doesn't play the third. So root, fifth, root, fifth. Instead of doing that, he goes a little scale. So I better stop there and go back to what I have. Okay, E minor. This sets off a long chain of E minors and B7s. B major or B7. Okay, let's see. E minor, B7, E minor, B7, E minor, B7, E minor, then B major, or B7 I should say, then a passing tone, then a little melodic minor, E melodic minor. See how he's going down on the harmonic minor? See, that'd be a harmonic minor, so he goes, and then melodic minor, sharp 6, sharp 7. So let me do that all the way through. A little bit of a scale. Then it moves around a little more. E minor, E7, E major with the 7th, E7. So that's A minor, F, D7. So let me do all of that. E minor, E7, A minor, F, D7, G, C, B, and then B. So he goes E minor. Now I never really worked this out all that great because it's just not something I used in my style. But he goes B, 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 then D sharp, F sharp, B, so just all B's. Well, there's a D sharp in there. E on the last chord, which is E minor. Okay, so very slow with no backing track. It goes like this. Now that's a lot of notes, and it's hard to remember, hard to memorize. And you know what they say, you never really know a tune or an exercise, I suppose, unless you can play it really, really slowly. Playing something very, very slowly allows your brain to get ahead of your fingers. That's a good thing, but it also allows for you to start thinking too much, and all of a sudden, or if you're not really concentrating and you're just playing from muscle memory, and all of a sudden your brain kicks in and says, where am I? What am I doing? All of a sudden that can cause a guitar player to just fall apart. So it's great to play really slow an exercise like this, and to see if you can keep your concentration very even all the way through. Know what you're doing, know what you're playing, know where you are in the song or the exercise. Don't let your concentration drift, but also don't be, you don't want to be overthinking it. Yeah, it's a really, really tricky thing. But mainly, the purpose of this video is just to show you a cool exercise. Now, like I say, let me get my glasses here and look at my notes. In my late teens, I was playing in a band pretty well known around Texas called Boss Tweed. We were a big influence on Pantera. We knew all those guys pretty well. We were all playing a lot of cover music. We were still in high school, but we were out playing clubs. Vinny used to run sound for us. We'd go see them. We recorded some at their dad's studio, etc., etc. Anyway, my whole heavy metal period lasted maybe about 3 years. I hardly ever played anything like what I'm doing right now on a gig. And there's other really good picking exercises, alt picking exercises that you can do. They're much simpler to play, just like 3 string patterns that repeat like a bluegrass pattern. They're much easier to memorize and much easier to play on one level, but conceptually and in feel and in groove, they're actually a lot harder. So I'll go over that in another video. Okay, so like I said, I put chords behind this and a drum groove. Let's see, I mentioned melodic minor, I mentioned the passing notes. I should also say, I remember right around this time I learned a guitar solo off a Night Ranger song called Don't Tell Me You Love Me. And it had this kind of thing where you're playing arpeggios, but you're picking every note. I can't remember if Brad Gillis or Jeff Watson played that solo. It's the arpeggio solo, and it's every note is picked. I kind of like that more than the tapping thing, which Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen were doing, obviously. For some reason, the picking appealed to me more. Made the guitar sound less like a violin, I suppose. Okay. So went over all the chords that you're playing in the arpeggios. It's not really all that hard to pick. The hardest thing of all is that last little pattern. Because I think that's the only place, it's not the only place, there's a few string skips. For instance, watch when you go on that first F sharp chord. You jump from the A string up to the B string. It goes. There's not a whole lot of string skips, but this is tricky. It reminds me of something I've seen Alan Holdsworth play, except he would do it, man, crazy. But it's just never been part of my style. So I admit I kind of get a little haphazard with this. If I'm doing it on acoustic, I do it there. Okay. So this is also a lot like when you do I do use arpeggios quite a bit. I just don't do them, in a classical manner for long stretches of chords. It'll just be almost just like a flourish, where I just feel like blasting through some notes before I play something that's maybe a little more meaningful. Okay, this is an exercise after all. Okay, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna play through the whole thing with the slow chords and the slow groove. This should work. Let's see what happens here. Here we go. Better try that again. Started talking too much and my fingers got cold. All right. Yep, that takes a lot of concentration. Okay, now let's see. I want to see if this starts back from the beginning here real quick. Yeah, it does. Okay, great. So, let me see if there's anything in my notes. Let's see. Yeah, if anyone else finds somebody doing this exercise on YouTube, I've looked around. I've never seen it. Let's see, I mentioned some other simpler patterns. I know Steve Morse has a lot of picking exercises on YouTube, and I know other people have done them. I don't know why he's never put this one up. And like I say, maybe he has, but I haven't been able to find it, and I've searched pretty well. And some of the others, I've learned one or two of the others, but I long since forgot them. And I do this one fairly often, and it's like, you don't have to do it that fast. It's just a good general, picking exercise. Another one I learned that's really good when I was a kid, our teacher called it the crab because your hand looks like a crab going up the neck, let me see, let me turn the echo, well, I'll leave the echo off, but it's called the crab, like I say, and it goes, and you count it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You know, it sounds like you're playing triplets, but you're not. You're actually playing eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then you go backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's another great picking exercise. Or stuff like this, you know. That's kind of a cool one. I know a whole bunch of them. You guys probably do too. The reason I wanted to do this one is because I just hadn't seen it out there on the internet. And I think it's really interesting, especially the way it just outlines chords. All right, let's see what else we've got. Passing notes, harmonic notes. I think that's pretty much it, you guys. Yeah, I mentioned the Night Ranger song. There may have been some other solos. I think there were some Iron Maiden solos that I had learned that kind of had arpeggios. Matter of fact, on YouTube, there's an old video of Boss Tweed where we're still in high school, and I just put up the middle section where me and the other guitar player are playing the dueling solos, and it's got the, you know, something like that. I can't remember any of that stuff. Okay, so that's it pretty much for this one. I'm going to give it another shot at full speed. I can't vouch for how well this is going to go. That's what I led off with, and we'll see if I can make another go at it. By the way, this is at 140 BPM. So let's see what happens here. That's the slow one. No, I guess that was the fast one. All right, I'll try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Missed a few notes. You might have noticed it. Okay.